responded to the allegations that has been actually put online by Rutendo Matinyarare, supporting what was publicized by Knox Chivero, a well presentation that makes you to understand deep-rooted corruption, and Rutendo pouring fuel into already burning fire by also revealing how true Knox Chivero was. In fact, also offering some more insights into deep-rooted corruption that is masterminded by Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa being at the center of it and aided by Zwikanandas around him. According to Temba Mliswa, Rutendo Matinyarare wants to bring down the entire faction of Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. He has issued a very, very long statement saying that Rutendo is acting in such a manner because his tap has run dry. And he may be correct, because also Temba Mliswa is speaking like that, because the water is still coming on his tap from Gudawashe Takure. But from what the Rutendo Matinyarare revealed about Temba Mliswa, relations may be strained between Temba Mliswa and Gudawashe Takure, because he has set them up against each other with the information that he revealed, saying at one point Temba Mliswa characterized this fellow, that is Gudawashe Takure, as a criminal when he was asked by Rutendo Matinyarare. Let me read to you the response of Temba Mliswa. It says, Sekuru Rutendo is now exhibiting the ultimate danger of waiting upon other men for one substance. When the tap suddenly closes, it leaves one frantic, flip-flopping between self-righteousness, anger, and illusions of bringing the whole house down. That is according to Temba Mliswa. He continues to say the wild stories he is now manufacturing without any evidence, but piles of important dates and name is acute bitterness at a lucrative client who has suddenly shut the door. Simple. So he's claiming that what Rutendo, if you hear Temba Mliswa coming through and defending himself, especially against the allegations that have been laid publicly, it means those allegations are already causing havoc. And Temba Mliswa saying it's a lie, understand that it's the truth. So he's in fact giving life to what has been spoken by Rutendo Matinyarare in the earlier presentation that I made. He continues to say, if Sekuru had received the money he demanded, he wouldn't be here publicly peddling his bitterness, which he is confusing for some divine flagellation for men's redemption at the hands of evil Pharisees. Now, Temba Mliswa is right. Maybe if he was paid money, he wouldn't be doing this. And Rutendo Matinyarare has made it publicly that Gudawashe Takure finds himself being exposed by him because of failure to pay him money. That is what you see. You cannot build a base through money, a political base through money. When you do so, these are the consequences. When someone is not paid, this is what he will do. He will seek to collapse the entire house. He goes on to say, in fact, his is Judas 30 silver pieces story without the repentance, but a demand for more. This is not an epiphanic moment for him, realizing the truth, meeting facts, or receiving Christ and converting into a new life path as he seeks to frame his new self. This is a bottom barrel effort to justify funding from his new handlers, whom he has clearly lied to, that he can bring Huda down for their political expedience. That's the problem with Temba Mliswa. Because they are paid, they always think that anyone who comes after them, and Gudawashe Tagore is being handled by the opponent, is simply saying is being handled by the by the retired General Chwenga faction. It's not necessarily that. He may be supporting the truth that has been revealed by the other side. He has to offer something, hence the incessant tirades on the same issue and same person who has not even responded to the wild claims. He's responding through his proxies, and Temba Mliswa is one of the proxies. This is very much in line with the mindset of a man who thinks he can he personally ended sanctions on the country when the evidence is there that the US had already made decisions long before his ZASIM began its activist efforts. So now they are throwing him under the bus. The removal of sanctions on Zimbabwe and the transition to sanctions under the global Magnitsky program, under which some individuals still remain sanctioned, was in line with the US Treasury's 2021 sanctions review. The report admit that due to changes on the global financial architecture, the United States now faces new emerging challenges to the efficacy of sanctions as a national security tool. These included cyber criminals, strategic economic competitors, and a workforce and technical infrastructure under pressure from growing financial complexity and competing demands from the policymakers, market participants, and others. To ensure sanctions continue to support U.S. national security objectives, the U.S. government must adapt and modernize the underlying operational architecture by which sanctions are deployed. This report lays the groundwork behind the changes which ultimately led to the removal of sanctions and a transition to the development of the global Magnitsky program. Sekuru's huge illusion launched its efforts in 2022, long after the US had realized the importance of sanctions and started processes to remove them. All the gutter drivel to which he has affixed my name, it's even worthy a response when Sekuru can't realize the absurdity of the chain of events where the president gets intelligence reports from the CIO, ZRP, or MIT, but from Temba. Ivu takatora Sekuru endai munorima musa tsamwira mari dzebano. The other party, I'm not I'm interested in carrying out one or two people who commented. I'm sure Rutendo Matinyara may fire also shots in response to this. Blabby says, you and Rutendo, you are business competitors paid to be angry on behalf of Tagore. He was replaced by you, and so we now know very well that you are singing for Super Temba. You sell anger for a living to feed those dozens of kids. I relate with that. Sfutam Fene says, at least you acknowledge there is a tape and is still open on your side. Someone says, the Maverick says, Wa Fumu Ratemba, now you are worried that Takure is now aware that you have been backstepping him whilst he was bankrolling you. Soon your tape would be closed. How are you gonna take care of that battalion of kids? Someone simply says you have been exposed, and that the tape that is running water for your survival, you were also backstepping it. So Temba Mliswa is trying to defend himself so that the tape continues to actually brings him financial security. Someone saying Sekuru is now running around like a headless chicken, promising more in his book. Judging by the snippets he's giving, his credibility seems far off. I think that's another person supporting Temba Mliswa. And then some Tatenda, the nationalist, says, Sapu, I cannot stop watching your video when you had an altercation with former Honorable Dexter Nduna. You said, Chaora Chinu ich. Command Agriculture came to Parliament. Are you still the same Sapu, flip-flopping, Muchirigu Kona, Karate? Friendly Fire says, it's unusual of you to write such long posts without mentioning VP Chiwenga. Po here uko. Ume wenyu abakuti VP ndibaba bake. Imika. Trevor Msigaya says, when your eventually closes, and you will spill all the pills. Meanwhile, keep all the V11s for the fateful day. Wanga Baka says, okay, I don't want to read insults. Okay, it appears Rutendo Matinyara responded. Okay, it's quite long. Let me read. I was looking for that. He says, I work for my money, not handouts. Mzukuru, the difference between you and me is simple. I don't live off hands or backdoor deals. I earn my money. I run an established consultancy, a Frontline Strat Consultancy, which has been in existence for 16 years. It has worked with corporations such as McKinsey, Procter and Gamble and Intel, as well as with the South African government, Rwanda, Nigeria, and the African Union, and several other governments across the continent. That consultancy also supports my anti-sanctions civil society organization, the Zimbabwe Anti-Sanctions Movement, which played a pivotal role in the removal of sanctions on Zimbabwe. You know this very well, so much so that you are on record advising me to go and seek payment from the Ministry of Finance for that work. Why would a former MP urge me to get paid by the Ministry of Finance for something I supposedly didn't do? I have never sought business from the Zimbabwean government or from business people in Zimbabwe. It was the president, through his son and advisor Kudata Gurei, who approached me and gave me mandates to win over the ANC to support Zimbabwe in its fight against sanctions, to rehabilitate Kuda's image, and to help end sanctions. I carried out that work diligently and completed all tasks. I built Kuda's image to the point where today you are running his presidential campaign. Work that rests on the foundation I created when you were too afraid to back up Kuda. I engaged the ANC and secured their support for Zimbabwe's fight against sanctions. Hence, they even supported Zimbabwe at a time when Mumba had cornered them with the negative SADC report over allegations of elections irregularities. I removed sanctions despite not being fully paid for the anti-sanctions work, despite the lawyers not being fully paid, and despite not being provided with affidavits to counter allegations of corruption and money laundering. I was even instructed not to move too quickly on sanctions removal by the same Guda. While Guda paid for his marketing in full, he did not circle the bulk of the anti-sanctions payments. See below. Nor did he pay me for handling the Geza matter, despite the risk I took and the fact that I delivered. This does not say taps were closed. It points to a deep issue. An unscrupulous individual in a position of power who does not honor his obligations, yet has accumulated wealth through deals where he is paid for his work. So he was also paid to handle blessed case. I'm interested on how to handle blessed case. Even so, I have never pursued him for the money owed. My concern is different. I now feel that I may have been used to fight individuals like Geza, like Tichimoyo, when emerging information suggests that the allegations against him may in fact have substance. You yourself told me that Tichimoyo had a docket implicating Guda, and that you influenced the president to make it disappear. You are also aware of the allegations that he attempted to have me assassinated. You confronted him on this yourself. So why are you expected to treat him as if he is beyond scrutiny? With everything we are now seeing around Cape 3, I am forced to confront the possibility that I may have been serving the wrong cause all along. As I always said, I have recordings of my conversations with Uda, including discussions. Let me see whether, okay, including discussions about dealing with Geza and his frustration with my silence during the last protest. You often say that anyone who enters politics and aspires to the presidency must be subjected to scrutiny. Guda has chosen that path, so why do you believe you have the right to interrogate the character of others in politics, yet seek to shield Guda from the same level of accountability? As for the new sanctions imposed on him, after I had removed the ones on the nation, this was not because of me failing to do my work, but because he failed to provide the necessary information or affidavits to clear his name with the courts and OFAC, while he continued to act in a way that justified OFAC designating him. And then he actually put the evidence, which rests now. I have the full 7.8 million now, and he is showing us some document that we must read. Highlight it's 22 March 2024. I think let me read all of it. It says, Director Zasim Rutendo Machinara per email, Zasim Anti-Sanction, United States of America, outstanding payments. Dear Rutendo, first of all, I would like to say congratulations to Zasim for the successful removal of illegal unilateral coercive measure upon Zimbabwe. I hope that this serves as proof to your government and our well wishes of the great work that has been done by our joint legal teams in conjunction with Zasim pressure activism and other activities that got us to this point. It is unfortunate that we had difficulties pertaining to payments. However, we hope that now, with the finalization and removal of these measures, the Zimbabwe government, together with the sponsors, will appreciate the work that has gone into achieving this outcome and resolve the outstanding balance of 3 million 383,000 excluding gratuity bonuses. We are still in discussion with advocate Simba Chitando on whether we continue our case against the banks to ensure that they do not continue to over-comply with these illegal Magnitsky and outstanding Zidera sanction. There was 3.3 outstanding. And then someone says, hi Mkoma, Murise, any progress with the car? Did Priscilla get the stick with Zimplast documentary from the gate at your work? I'm not in the country, but I promise you the car issue will be resolved. I saw you are in Italy making waves. So he's also posting the screenshot to show that what he's talking about is real. I'm telling you, it's getting nasty. And all this help us as ordinary citizens to understand the extent of the rot that has been taking place in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Okancubu Mhlabane is signing off. Let me love and leave you. Let's meet on the other side of the live.